Hello, hello. Is my microphone working? Yes, it looks like it is. My camera is a little wonky. Trying to adjust it. I broke the hinge on my camera, but it looks like it's staying there pretty good. How's everybody doing tonight? Let me go to... Sometimes it's hard for me to read the chat. I put the chat in the window so that I could see it while I'm in OBS. Working fine. There he is. Hello, little Chris. How you doing? Okay, now I can see the chat real well. Tony Robles in the house. How you doing, Tony? Wow. Hi, Ron. I am doing a live stream about my visit to the 14-1 championships in Norfolk last week. What a week it was. So I'm just going to be sitting here in front of the microphone. I'm not going to be, if something comes up, I'll go to the table and demonstrate a shot. But I'm pretty much just going to sit here and talk at this microphone and talk at you guys. So I said this is a Q&A. Anybody have any questions, let me know. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. And if you have any questions, just type them in the chat, and I'll try and get to them as I see them. I'm going to just talk about my experience, and I've kind of organized my thoughts. I've got a whole list here of things to talk about. And so I'll go down the list. Actually, this is kind of what I'm going to talk about. The venue. I'll talk about my matches, notables. That's things that occurred, interesting things that occurred. You may have heard about a couple of them. Like there were a couple of issues with the referee making some weird calls. And then I'll talk a little bit about what I learned, and then wrap it up with the future of Shortstop on Pool on YouTube. So, that said, the first thing I want to talk about is the venue. Has anyone else been to Q Master Billiards in Norfolk, Virginia? I bet you have. This was my second time going to Q Masters. Up in the top left, I've got the little neon sign that they've got inside there. I went to Q Masters in 2004. I went and played in the pro, in the U.S. Open 9-ball when it was the Barry Berman event. And they played it in a convention center nearby, but everybody went to Q Masters afterwards, and there's lots of action. One of the best memories that I have in pool was in 2004. One night, I went in the back. You see this, I got kind of a panorama picture here. That's the pro room in the back of Q Masters. And they've got two sets of bleachers seating. And I sat in that bleacher seating for probably at least 3 hours. And I watched Efren Reyes give some guy a huge spot, like 12-4 in one pocket. For over 3 hours, I sat there. And I was just mesmerized. I was like, oh, that's how you play one pocket. Because Efren just does things that nobody else does. He would look like he was completely trapped, and he would bank a ball, long rail, play 3-rail position, short side on some balls, and run 6 balls and play safe. And you're like, wow. So that was incredible. But if you haven't been to Q Masters, they build themselves. Ron, you actually shot out of the original building? Yeah, the current location is the second location, I believe, from what I've heard. It's actually 4 pool halls in one. They bill themselves as the largest pool hall in the country, I believe, and I think they are. So you walk in, and they have the counter and restaurant bar and a pool room with 20 or so tables, some 9-foot, some 7-foots. In the back is this room that you see in the panorama. Really beautiful, kind of a pro room, a tournament room, with 2 sets of bleachers. Each set of bleachers seats like 20 people at least. And there's 14 9-foot diamond tables back there. Just awesome. And then off to the side, there's another room with another 20 or so tables. And you walk through that room, and there's another room with another 15 or 20 tables. They've got a 10-foot snooker table, I believe, and at least one billiard table, 3-cushion billiard table. Just an incredible, incredible pool hall. I've been considering moving to another area of the country, and I was chit-chatting with somebody, and they said, we were having that conversation, and they said, where are you thinking about moving? And I said, across the street. Ron, you bought your first cue from Cue Masters? So I thought it would be awesome to live across the street. I'd go over there every day. And I don't know if it was just for this event, but you'd walk, they open up at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., and you get a rack of balls, and they just collect $5 from you. And you play all day for $5. I don't know if that's for every room or every table in the place or all the time, but it was incredible. The pool cue that you see me playing with, this one, there we go. It's an 8-pointer. And I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can get the initials up in there. Where is it? Looking in my camera. There. See those initials? DCB. That's Dave Bowman, House Pro at Cue Masters Billiards. I bought this in 2004 when I went to the U.S. Open, and I'm still playing with it. Dave Bowman is no longer with us, but they have an amazing pro shop there with a lathe and bandsaw and all the woodworking tools you could ever imagine. Just an awesome place. Cue Masters is fantastic. Let's see. This is another shot of inside the pro room. And this tall guy in the middle of the picture with gray and black, that's me. So that was the first night I got there was Saturday night. And I didn't get to the pool hall till like 11 p.m. I was finally able, my flight got in and got checked in. And I played till close at 2, even though I was dead tired. But beautiful 9-foot diamond tables. Some of them are blue label and some of them are red label. But there's 6 tables here. Then there's a column in the middle of the room with 2 tables, and then 6 more tables on the other side. 14 tables. Just a fantastic place to play. The first thing that I noticed when I got there, within hitting the first 3 balls, when I got there Saturday night, was, wow, these tables play great. And what I'm talking about is the cue ball is controllable. So this is my opinion. Some other people might disagree, but I live in Denver, Colorado, and Denver is a very dry climate. It's very arid. There's almost no humidity here at any time. And what that means is the tables are dry and the rails get dried out. And the rails end up really bouncy like a pinball machine bumpers, and the cloth is really fast. And as a matter of fact, I went to the local pool hall here in Denver today and played pool back in Denver for the first time since this tournament, and I couldn't control the cue ball. It just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. So when and if I do relocate from Denver, it's going to be to someplace that has humidity. And I don't really like humidity, but it wasn't bad at all. It was wonderful in Norfolk. Very moderate, but you could tell it was more humid than Denver. But I would call it normal conditions. And because of that, the tables, in my opinion, played fantastic. And I think one of the reasons that I was able to play confidently and a little better than I thought I might is I could control the cue ball. The cue ball wasn't running away like it does here in Denver all the time. I didn't feel like I had to restrain my stroke. You could, if you had to get the cue ball somewhere, you could punch it with some authority, and the cue ball would get there, and the cue ball slows down quicker. And then the rails behave a lot better too, a lot more predictable. So I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. The venue, man, what a fantastic pool hall Cue Masters is. Let's see, what else do I have here? Round robin. Oh, on the bottom is a player. On the bottom picture is a panoramic shot. They had a professional photographer there taking pictures, and that's the whole group. What a crowd to be in. And as an open tournament, there was a handful of amateurs like me along with all the pros. Right here in front is Michael Yednak, front right. Standing behind Michael Yednak is Danny Berruti, and if you don't know him, look him up. He's a legend in straight pool. He's in his 70s, but he's been playing since the 1960s, maybe earlier, and knows and played with all the old timers. I'm sitting I'm sitting in the bleachers behind the guy with the blue jacket on the left side. That's John Mora, blue and white jacket, and I'm in the bleachers there. To the left of John Mora is Thorsten Holman. To the left of him is Carlo Beato. You know who the pros are. Corey Deuel on the very left. Just next to him is Carl, the referee. He was kind of the only referee. Peter Burrows, who runs the tournament, was helping out, but Carl was kind of doing referee duty on all the tables. He would stay next to the TV table, but once in a while he would go to the other tables. Fantastic group. Just some killers in there. Albin Ocean, Jason Shaw, Zielinski, Filler. Boy, it was just fantastic playing those guys and watching them all play. Here's the merchandise table that they had set up. And shortstop on Straight Pool Book right there. See him in the middle of the table. Sold a bunch of books. Some guys asked me to autograph. That was wonderful. And top right on the screen is the cover of my book, and below that is a code. So if you want to just scan that code, it takes you to the website for my book. Shameless plug. And then to the left of that is my sponsors, which is myself, shortstoponpool.com, and SatoriFlatRack.com. You can go to that website. I make custom pool racks. Bought a bunch of shirts. Bought this. You got to buy some souvenirs when you're there, right? Let's see. Let me get in front of this camera. Q Master Billiards. Got a T-shirt. Oh, and I got a jersey. They had to order a tall size, but I got a. Let's see. It's similar to this orange shirt that you see in the front, but that's not it. I didn't capture it in this picture, but it's a cool jersey. It says 14-1 Straight Pool. The modern, colorful jerseys that a lot of the players are wearing, and on the back side it's going to say Keller. So I'll be getting that in a week or two. So you'll see me playing in those, and next year I'll wear my jersey for the matches. That'll be fun. Let's see. Bob, I wish I could shoot you like you. I wish I could shoot like me too, at least when I'm shooting my best. Let's see, what else? What else did I want to talk about? So the next thing I wanted to talk about is the format of this tournament. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with round robin, but this is a couple of round robin brackets. There were 56 players in the tournament. So if you can see, this is it. I was in Group 4 with Fedor Gorst, John Mora, Carlo Beato, Max Eberle, Jani Sekinen from Finland, and Ho Chin. So there was 7 of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 brackets, so 56 players. So the tournament starts out with a round robin, and that's really cool because straight pool tournaments have been doing this for decades. Willie Mosconi and Ralph Greenleaf, all through the early 1900s. Most straight pool tournaments were done this way. You have a round robin to get your top finishers from each group, and then they would play a single or a double elimination tournament from there. So the other thing that's cool about round robin is I get to play 6 matches. You know, if you go play the U.S. Open 9-ball, if you lose your first 2 matches, you're done. You're out. You played 2 matches and you're done. But here I got to play 6 matches. That's awesome. And so what they did is there's 8 groups of 7. So they take the best 3 finishers from each group. So 8 groups times 3 finishers is 24 players. So then they go to single elimination. And some of you may have seen this is the single elimination bracket from this year. So the 16, the top finisher from each of the 8 groups goes in this second column on the single elimination bracket. So the second and third place finishers from each group goes on the very left side of the single elimination bracket. So then they play one match in single elimination, whoever loses is out, and then the winner plays the first place finisher from each bracket, and then they go single elimination from there. And so really cool way to run a tournament, I think. So you have to make it through where'd it go? You have to make it through your round robin. So of the 7 players in each bracket, 4 are done and 3 make it through. And I did not make it through. I won 2 matches, 2 out of 6 matches. And let's see, who made it through? John Mora, Carlo Beato, and Fedor Gors. So not a big surprise there. However, I'm going to talk about my matches. Let's see if there's any questions. Yeah, my matches had some killers. But look at Group 3. Thorsten Hohmann, Victor Zielinski, Ralph Souquet. All 3 of those are killers. And guess what? Out of this group, I don't think Thorsten made it. Let's see. Is he in here? No. So that's surprising. And that's one of the lessons I learned. You look at a tournament like this and you pick out all the top players and you're like, oh, those guys will make it through. It never works out that way. Some of them make it through, some don't. Some of the middle of the road, shall we call it, pros make it through, some don't. A couple of the amateurs might make it through. You can't rely on your prejudices about who you think is the best player and who should make it. Look at Group 5. Sanchez Ruiz, who just won the 2022 U.S. Open. Amazing player, one of the very top players in the world right now. Alex Kazakis is a top pro. Conrad, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's winning everything, running hundreds of balls in straight pool, and not all of them made it through. Probably the favorites in this tournament were Ruiz, Filler, and Victor Zielinski. And Zielinski made it to the finals, but he didn't win. And Ruiz and Filler, neither of them made it to the finals. Let's see, what they do? Yeah. Zielinski made it, but Joshua Filler got beat in the quarterfinals. And Zielinski made it through. And Ruiz. Ruiz got beat right here by Zielinski. So the draw was kind of unusual too. The 3 favorites, Ruiz, Filler, and Zielinski, were all in the bottom half of this single elimination bracket. So a lot of the players were happy about that because it means only one of those guys is going to make it to the finals, and so all these other guys had a good chance. I commentated on two of Dimitri Jungo's matches, and he's a great player, but you wouldn't have predicted him to make it to the finals. But once he got into the single elimination, he started playing some top-notch pool. All right, let's go to my matches. This is the bracket. Yeah, Jason, I don't know why Jason didn't do better. He was playing in a very similar fashion to what we've seen him play at the Legends of Pocket Billiards when he's trying to run big numbers on those 5-inch pockets, which is to say kind of casual looking. And I don't think he really is casual. I think he's an intense player, but he shoots kind of quickly. And he just didn't put any runs together. These are very good tables. They're not super easy. They're 4.5-inch pockets. So they're not super tight, but they're not super easy. You got to play well. You have to shoot accurately, and you have to play good position. You also got to get fortunate on your break shots to get a next shot and to not scratch. And so it was really, I don't think I'll have to see if I can find the stats, but throughout the course of the tournament, there weren't a lot of 100-ball runs. Over 10 for sure, but maybe not over 20 100-ball runs in the entire tournament. And the first night, Joshua Filler ran 216 balls. So he ran out his game, 150 points, and then you were allowed to keep running to see if you could break the record or set a record for this year. And they gave away prizes for the high run. So the high runs was always going to be more than 150. If you were on a run of 100 points or more when you won your game, you were allowed to continue to see if you could set a high run. So Joshua Filler ran 216, and I think the next night Zielinski ran 215, and Ruiz was running. He was like in the 180s, and it looked like he was going to get there too. But then something happened; he missed. So there were no runs in the entire tournament. I think over 216. I think Filler had the high run, and yet Filler didn't make it to the semifinals. So there weren't a lot of 100-ball runs. There were a lot of pros running 30 balls and then playing safe, 40 balls and then playing safe. That's what good straight pool takes. You try to run as many racks as you can, but if the balls don't favor you after a break shot, you have to play defensively. So right in front of you is, let me look at yes, straight pool is a great game. There's so much more to it than 9-ball, 10-ball. Garrett, thank you. That was the very first time that I've ever commentated a match. And I did 3 matches while I was there. Let's see, I did Alex Pegulain and Jeffrey DeLuna, and the first half of that I was commentating with Michael Yednak, which was awesome. Little shout out to Michael Yednak. He has a very detailed knowledge of straight pool. And I guess it's no surprise because he's a regular at Amsterdam Billiards in New York City, and he gets to play straight pool and talk to Thorsten Holman all the time, and Mika Nieminen and Tony Robles when he's up there. And so it's no surprise, but wow. If I ever write a follow-up, advanced shortstop on straight pool, advanced straight pool, I might try and hook up with Michael Yednak because, wow, what a great resource he would be. And then, let's see, I commented on a match with Jungo, Dimitri Jungo, who's from Switzerland, and Jeffrey DeLuna. And then I did another match with Jungo in the, let's see, where was that? Let's go back here. Oh, I did Dimitri Jungo and John Mora. So if you happen to cross those matches on YouTube, that's me. So I hope I get to do some more of that in the future. Anyway, this is... You heard, Noel, when I missed that 7-ball, if you're listening, I jumped back and I said, "What?" Because I was so surprised. But I'll talk about that later. There were lots of misses by the pros. Let me talk about this bracket. This is the actual score bracket of scores from my bracket. So as you can see, if you look at the Keller, I'm on row F. I won 2 matches, and I beat player D, which is Max Eberly, and then I won against player G, which is Ho Chin. And Ho Chin is a pro, but I don't know if he's... Well, anyway, I would have been sad if I lost to Chin. He was having a tough match. He's getting older, and he was having trouble with his eyes, with seeing, and he had sinus trouble at the time. He just had a really tough match. And frankly, my match that I played against Chin was embarrassing. Don't watch it. It was horrible. I did not play well, and my attitude deteriorated during that match, which is embarrassing. That's a really good lesson to learn. I played with a good attitude in the other 5 matches that I played. There's a tendency, there can be a tendency when you play competition, whether you're gambling or tournament, they call it playing down to your competition. So Chin wasn't playing very well, and then I started not playing very well. Terrible thing to do. You need to always stay in your game. The opponent doesn't matter. One way to think about it is whenever it's your turn to play, your opponent misses or it's whatever, it's your turn during a tournament or a match, you want to imagine that the table is in a room with no one in it. So when your opponent is done, they leave the room. And someone tells you, okay, it's your turn, and you open the door and go into an empty room, and there's no one there but you and the table. Then you play your game. That's the kind of the training mindset that you want to have. Anyway, I played a terrible game there, but I managed to win. I did manage to gather myself and close out. I beat Max Eberle, which was awesome. See this? Look at the cover of my book in the top right. On the bottom, on the bottom is a quote by Max Eberle. I sent him a copy of my book before we published it, and he loved it, and wrote and sent me this quote. So it's kind of a little ironic to beat one of my heroes, to be fortunate enough to win a game. I think at that I played Max. What was it? I think my fourth match. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this was my fourth match that I played Max Eberle. And I think he was out of the running to make it out of his bracket. So I don't know how motivated he was to win. I may not have gotten his best game. I don't care. I still won. And he made some good shots and some good runs. Neither of us had any runs, I think, over 50 balls. But we had several safety battles back and forth. So I like that match. And I have it on video, and I'll probably refer to it and maybe do a Rack of the Week or review it or something in the future on there. I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanted to talk about one other thing first. When my first day at Q Masters was by myself, and then on Sunday, I went in and let's see, why isn't this playing? Play. Huh. Oh, there we go. Okay. I've got a little slideshow. And there's Tony Robles. So on Sunday, I went in there and introduced myself to Tony Robles and Max Eberle, and Tony invited me to play. These are photos from the photographer. He was warming up his camera. We were still wearing our casual clothes. But I got to play straight pool with Tony all day, pretty much all day Saturday. We played 2 games to 150. I won both games. Anyway, that was a great warm-up because, still a little nervous, new pool hall, what to expect. And here I'm playing this straight pool champion, and you can't find a nicer pro. We played 2 full games, and then we played some more racks after that. We talked about straight pool. Tony showed me some things about some break shots. And then there were other pros in the room who asked Tony questions, and he helped them. And then Francisco Ruiz, who just won the 2022 U.S. Open, one of the hottest players in the country, had asked Tony for advice on how to shoot some break shots. So they went and started talking about straight pool break shots. What a generous guy Tony is to just help anyone who's willing, who's interested. And some of the players were too happy about that. They were like, wait a minute, he's already one of the #1 players in the world, and you're helping him out? But anyway, I didn't mind. And that was fantastic. And then got to play the rest of the night. Played almost till close. I just wanted to get the maximum time in. Let me go look at the chat. Max is a really friendly guy, really nice guy, and what a student of the game. He checked out a copy of my book 2 years ago before it got published, and then he bought a book from me at the tournament. And the very next day, he came up to me and said he already read the first 3 chapters again. And he mentioned some things and thought it was awesome, so that was great. A really great testimonial from Max. And then, Tony's awesome. What can we say? Let me go back to, let's see, my bracket. My first match of the tournament was Monday. against John Mora. And that was my best, my highest score of the event that I lost. And in my losing games, I scored 110. I'm going to tell you something in all honesty. We talk about shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, oh, if only I would have played better, blah, blah, blah. Of my 4 losses, I'm going to tell you, I should have beaten John Mora. I gave it away. You might be able to say it was a little bit unfortunate, but if you watch that match, I got the first shot after the break, and I ran 54. And then I got another run or two in, and I ended up ahead of John Mora 110 to 25. And you ask yourself, how the hell did you lose? I only needed 15 points. Well, first of all, John Mora is a hell of a player. He's a top pro. And he may have had a slow start in that match with me, but then he started playing good. From the point where I was ahead 110 to 25, we had 3 safety battles. Three safety battles. And he won the first 2 safety battles. So I really can't make a complaint there. You know, I could say, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda. If I would have done a little better, maybe I would have won one of those earlier safety battles, and then I would have won the match 125 to 25 or 125 to 50, something like that. But I didn't. He won them. Still struggling. He didn't put any log runs together. But then I found myself still ahead at 110 to 89. I still felt good, and I still felt like I was in the match and like I should win. I just need a shot. Just give me one shot. All I need is 15 balls. If I get one shot, by God, I'm going to close out this game. We got into a 3rd safety battle, which he initiated, and I won that safety battle. We went back and forth several times, both taking 2 fouls in a row, and then hitting a rail, and then more intentional fouls. It was a protracted safety battle. And I ended up, there was probably 5 or 6 balls loose above the rack. And then I left John on the bottom rail behind the stack where he couldn't see any of those balls. So he tried to roll the cue ball up into the back of the stack. He got a ball to a rail, but a ball kind of leaked out. So I was elevated over the balls in the stack, and I had to cut a ball that was close to me, about 45 degrees. But I was like, man, I'm making this shot, and I'm going to clear this table, because there were 15 balls on the table. He didn't, if I remember correctly, there were 15 balls, which is all I needed, 15 points. And so I did everything properly. I looked at it carefully. The cue ball was going to hit 1 or 2 of the balls that were loose above the rack. And that should stop the cue ball, and I'll get a shot, and I'm going to win this game. Took my time, careful aim, blah, 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 did everything right, made the ball. The cue ball goes off the rail, hits 2 of the balls above the rack, just like I predicted, and scratched in the side pocket. I was sick, I'm telling you. And then, of course, John Mora now has ball in hand, and he ran out the game from 89. I really think it was a bad roll. I played pretty well, and of course I could have played, if I would have played just a hair better, or if I didn't get that bad roll, I would have won that. And that's not a, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I realistically could have won that game. Look at Mora's record. I started him off on a roll. He won these 5 games. He won, let's see. Let me go back to the, I've got it right here. So John Mora made it into the single elimination, but Fedor Gorst did not. So they didn't score this last one on this image you're looking at. But Mora beat Gorst. He won all of his matches. So if I had won that game, my record would have been 3-3. Probably still not good enough to make it into some single elimination. As you can see, Mora made it, and then did Beato make it? Yeah, all the other players, the other guys that made it, Gorst had 3 wins. Let's see, Beato had 3. And then did Eberle win 3 or who? Sikkonen win, but oh gosh, now I don't remember who made it through. Did Sikkonen make it through? No. Kachi, Eberle, Max made it through. So I believe that Max Eberle won this game against Beato. So Max ended up with 4 wins. And then, so Mora and I believe Beato made it through because if you have a record of 3-3 and tie with other players who also won 3, then they add the total of your losing scores, and whoever has the highest total there makes it through. So I got aced by Fedor Gorst, so I wasn't going to make it through with only 3 wins. I would have had to win 4, but I felt great about my performance. I was close. I only needed to play a little better in a couple of matches, and I had a legitimate chance to have a 4-2 record. That's pretty cool. So my second match was against Fedor Gorst, and I broke pretty well. The cue ball made it all the way to the head rail, but a ball leaked out of the right side of the rack. And Fedor studied it for a little bit before he shot, but he shot that ball, and he made it, and he ran 125 and out. So I have no complaints there, and I cannot say that I might have had a chance. What if Fedor had missed that shot? Would I have been in the match? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you this because it's a funny story. So Fedor ran 125 and out on me, and I was bummed. My next match, I played Carlo Beato. During my match with Carlo Beato, Fedor was playing his next match nearby. I swear to God, Fedor missed 3 break shots in his other match that he never would have missed against me. How does that happen? Oh, man. I know that's some of you guys have probably played in tournaments and have experienced that where somebody plays lights out against you and beats you, and their very next match they play terrible. And you're like, why didn't you miss those shots against me? That's not fair. Yeah, John Moore is a monster. He made it pretty far. He didn't make it a long way. He won, let's see. He beat Ralph Souquet, so that was his first win in the single elimination, and then he lost to Dimitri Jungo. So honestly, watching John play, I'm not going to put him in the top players, not in the top 5 straight pool players, but absolutely a super tough pro, no doubt about it. And on another day of the week, if he didn't have a slow start, then I would not have been in the match with him. But I was able to get the first shot and ended up 54-0 ahead after the first inning. So anyway, so I was a little bummed about not even getting to shoot against Fedor Gorst. But then I still felt good. I still felt like I was playing well. And let's see, my very next match was against Carlo Beato. Almost the same situation with Fedor Gorst. And I was like, oh, no, not again. Because I broke, and this time I broke even worse. My cue ball didn't even make it to the head rail, and there were 2 balls open on the left side of the rack. I was really bummed because the night before, I had practiced the break shot for like 20 minutes, and I was hitting them good. I thought I had it nailed on those tables. So I hit a fairly good one against Fedor, but not great. And then I hit a bad break shot against Beato. And he's got an open ball, an open shot that you expect him to make. Not a tough one. I mean, a long shot, but you expect Carlo Beato to make it. He won the U.S. Open last year. Anyway, he missed his opening shot. I stepped to the table. I just sat in the chair and racked for Fedor Gorst for 125 points. And by God, I wasn't going to sit in my chair again. And I got up and ran 72 against Beato. That was my best run of the tournament, and boy, did it feel good. Now, you guys saw my miss on that 7 ball. And I've talked to a couple people about it on the chats. It was a bad decision because what I wanted to do, I can show you my miss. Some of you may not have seen it. Here's my miss. Wait, that's not my miss. That's not the one I want to talk about anyway. It's in this, well, anyway, some of you have probably seen it. I ran 5 racks. made the break ball and another ball. Now the 7 ball's on the rail near the corner pocket, and I tried to draw the cue ball off that ball into the bottom of the stack, and I didn't need to because there was like 6 balls open, and I could have played differently and played for a more open shot. Super surprised that I missed that ball, but I shouldn't have been. Number one, even though I was shooting what was probably the wrong shot, I still should have made it. I shouldn't have missed. I know why I missed, and a lot of players, a lot of good pros, missed similar shots in the similar way. When you got to hit it hard on a ball near the rail, you cannot let it brush the rail at all, or it'll rattle, and that's what I did. You have to overcut it. And so I still should have made it, but it was the wrong shot. Anyway, that's not the worst part. I was 78-0 ahead of Carlo Beato. Lots of pros didn't run 78 and won their matches by running a 50 and then a 40 and then a 30, something like that. But anyway, Carlo Beato got up and he ran 116. I thought he was going to run out the same way Fedor did, but he ran 116, and I still felt good. I did not feel out of the match. I felt the same way with John Mora. Just give me a shot. Just give me one shot, and I'll run this out. Now, I only had 72, and believe me, I was sitting in my chair doing the math. 28 points gets me to 100, and another 25 wins the game, so I needed 53, and I just ran 72. I can run 53 balls. Just let me have a shot. Okay. Carlo missed at 116. This was the miss. Let me see. Is this playing? Yeah, it's playing. This was the miss. Let me pause it. So he hung up the 3 ball in the bottom left corner pocket. The balls are wide open except for that 5-6 ball is tied up. And I took my time and looked at this. I need to open up the 5-6. I'm going to break the rack with the 8, and I'm going to run 53 and win this game. That's what's on my mind. And so what I don't, and I have too much, so I want to shoot the 12-3 combination. And I want to open up the 5-6 on this shot. And I think that's a good decision. Now, I have too much angle on the 12 to draw into the 6. And even if I do, I'm going to be on the bottom side of it. I don't want to be on the bottom side of the 6. And if I hit the 12 cleanly into the 3, the 12 is going to follow the 3 in. I won't have a shot. Okay. So I'm going to shoot the 12 ball into the top side of the 3. That way it won't follow the 3 in. So I'll still hit it. I'll hit the 3 full, but on the top side. Then the 12 will bounce off the side rail and back over to the right. Okay, good plan. Now I still need to open those balls. So now I'm hitting the 12 just a little bit thinner, and I'm going to use a follow stroke with a little bit of left English. So the cue ball is going to go to the bottom rail and come up and open up the 5-6. Okay? Let me hit play. So that's my decision, and I think it's a wonderful decision. I'm either going to have a shot on the 5 or the 6 or the 12 ball in the left corner pocket. You see me walking around and look at it. I didn't rush it. I'm going over here and looking. What else can I do? What are my other options? Because I could shoot the 4 ball right now too. And I'm like, no, this is the right shot. Get the 5-6 open. I'm going to have a shot on the 12 in the left corner pocket. I'm taking my time on the shot, and this is what happens. I just barely missed it. You saw the cue ball kind of loop to the rail? I stroked it a little too hard. I was a little nervous. I hit it harder than I wanted to, and that's why the cue ball with follow kind of looped forward, and the left English didn't take, and I didn't open those balls. And I'm like, oh, no, you didn't just do that, did you? Now, the 14 ball blocks me from shooting the 13. The 4 ball blocks me from shooting the 8. So I have I'm going to hit pause. I've got a shot on the 7 or the 12. The 12's really thin, especially from that distance. So I'm going to shoot the 7. That's the most reasonable shot. So here I made a bad decision because I decided I'm going to pocket the 7 and follow forward and open up the 7-5. That's a lot to ask when I already have a long, difficult shot. The shot here is to cinch the 7. Don't shoot it hard, just cinch it. Shoot it nice and easy. The cue ball is going to bounce off the rail, and I have a shot on the 4. If the cue ball comes out farther, I'll have a shot on the 12, but I'll be much closer, and I'll be able to control it and open up the 5-6. So I'll either have a shot on the 4 or the 12. Instead of doing that, I don't take any time on the shot. I just get down, and I try to open up the 5-6. And guess what? Perfect cue ball. Look at the 5-6. Bink, perfect. But I missed the 7. Carlo Biato comes to the table and runs out. So that's a fantastic lesson. We talk about consistency in straight pool. And this is an example. The pros miss. I saw a lot of missed shots by the pros. Easier shots than this 7 ball that I just missed. The players who got the farthest in the tournament had fewer unforced errors. They still missed, but it was only the tougher shots and the tougher positional routes. And then they played safeties when they had to. That's what consistency is. It's making sure you get it right. Taking a little more time on that shot and making sure I have enough left English that I open those balls and the cue ball stays right there for the shot on the 12. So, fantastic lesson, and that's a lesson I'm going to take to the practice room. Do it right. Do it right the first time. You may not get another chance. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to say that I should have beat Carlo because I still needed 53, and I may not have been able to run 53. Who knows? But I wish I would have run some balls here at this inning. I would have felt a lot better. Anyway, so that was that shot. My next match was Max Eberle, and I won. So my first win of the tournament was my third match against Max. Fourth match against Max Eberle. And Max didn't look like, I don't know if I got his best game, but I played pretty well, not great. No runs over 60, but I won the game. My fifth match was Chin. I already said that was a terrible match, but I ended up winning. My sixth match was the only match I played on Thursday against Jani Saikinen. Real nice guy from Finland, another tall guy. He was probably 6'3" or 6'4". And I got ahead of him. I had the first shot. What did I run? I'm not sure I remember. I think I ran like 42 my first inning. So I got ahead of him, and it really felt like we were kind of on similar ground. We were both doing about the same. And then in the middle of the match, he kind of took the advantage and got ahead. And I played pretty well, but not as good as I wanted to. And Yanni ended up winning that. And what did I score against him? 80. Wait a minute, Keller. 78. Yeah, I scored 78 against Yanni. And then after the match, had a nice conversation with Yanni. He's from Finland, which is where they make Tom chalk. So he gave me a free piece of chalk, which was nice. But Jani Sikkanen took fifth in this tournament last year. Let's look at that. Fifth place means he made it out of his round robin, won 2 matches, and made it to the third round of the single elimination. That's 5th through 8th. That's the guy that I scored 78 points on. I feel really good about that. I did not feel overwhelmed by any of my opponents, even when Fedor ran out on me, because none of Fedor's other matches did he run 125 and out. And he got run out on by Beato, and then he only scored 45 points against Max Eberle. He had a 117 ball run against Chin, which was a very good run. But Fedor Gorst's best run of the entire tournament was against me. So I didn't feel overwhelmed by any of these opponents. And I'm looking forward to going back next year. My goal next year is to get out of the bracket. So that'll depend highly on the draw. How many other top players are there and how well they play. But I'm going to play better. Trust me. I am going to play better next year than this year. Okay, let me go look at the chat. Yeah, getting 2 wins, I just feel fantastic about it. Getting 2 wins, and then I feel really good about my game with Mora. I legitimately should have, in air quotes, should have won that match for real. So I'm taking all those good things away from that tournament. Let's see. Yeah. What else? The next thing I have on here to talk about is some of the notable things. Let me go over to my stream. Let's see. Oh, that's under here. Where is it? Oh, right here. Let me show you some interesting things that happened at the tournament. Watching a lot of these matches, it was interesting that a lot of the players like Ruiz and Jeffrey DeLuna really didn't know straight pool that well. Now, Fedor Gorst did because he's been playing straight pool since a kid, since a teenager, and a lot of the Europeans did, but some of them didn't even know the rules. Carlo Biato did not understand the general principles of opening clusters and insurance balls and all that. He just didn't. He played it like a game of 9-ball, but he's such a good shooter. Oh, he got away with it. But guess what? By the time Carlo Biato made it into the single elimination, he had picked up how to play straight pool, and he started playing like a real straight pool player. Not fully, but he was getting it. So that was really interesting. And the thing I noticed is that the pros are no different than me. If they're faced with a shot that's less than 30 degrees, a cut shot, and a tougher cut shot, even if the tougher cut shot is a better shot as far as a better pattern or something, they choose the easier shot, same as me and you. One of the things I learned 25 years ago is if you want to be a really good player, we're all pool fans, and we have these great players on a pedestal. And one of the things I learned a long time ago is if you want to be a good player, you have to knock those players off their pedestal. That doesn't mean you have to beat them in a tournament. What it means is, yes, recognize that they're good players and admire them, but don't put them in a stratosphere where they're unreachable. Okay? And so I felt that way during the week for the most part. But next year, I'm going to feel that way 100%. When it comes down to it, this game is just rolling balls around on a table with a stick. And when those pros are faced with a tough shot, it's not easy for them. They work hard to make the tough shot. And if I work hard, I make the tough shot too. So that's the attitude that you need. And that's what I'm going to take with me. It was really enlightening when I saw a lot of this. This is Joshua Filler.
Longtime sponsor of American 14.
Missing a shot.
Oh dear.
Oh dear is right.
He's in a run. He has two potential break balls in the 4 and the 15. And you might say to yourself, he's Joshua Filler. He's going to get into the next rack. But he's out of line, and he's got a backwards cut, and he missed it.
Oh dear.
You know why? Because he's human. Don't put him on a pedestal. The pros miss the same as you and me. They just don't miss as often. But I saw a lot of missed shots by pros that I claim that I wouldn't have missed. So everybody's human. That's one of the things I took away from the game. I already mentioned some of the pros don't know the game and struggled. In the matches that I commentated with Dimitri Jungo, who ended up winning this tournament, he shot some bad racks, just very unorthodox. I commentated those with Bobby Chamberlain, and both of us were like, man, this is not the right shot. He's doing this wrong. But guess what? He often, not always, but often, he would clear the rack anyway. So that's a champion, and that's why he made it to the finals.
Oh dear.
When Jungo's semifinals and finals match, he played real good straight pool. Real good. Okay, let's see.
Oh dear.
Super match between Joshua Filler, between Francisco Ruiz. Let me turn this off so we don't have to watch that. Super match between Joshua Filler, the best match of the tournament was between Francisco Ruiz and Victor Zielinski. Ruiz got the first shot, and he ran 145 balls, and he missed. Probably shouldn't have missed, but he missed at 145. How confident would you feel if you had a 145-0 lead? So this was in the single elimination. They were no longer going to 125. They're going to 150. Now it's Victor Zielinski's shot. He runs 150 and out. Best match of the tournament. People were just stunned, and Ruiz was stunned. So if you look at where's the single elimination? Let me go back over here. Where was that? Right here, Ruiz, Zielinski. Bottom left in the second bracket, or second round. Ruiz 145, Zielinski 150. Ruiz is one of the favorites of the weeks earlier. He won the U.S. Open 9-ball. And he ran 215 balls earlier in an earlier match on an earlier day. Definitely one of the favorites to win the tournament, but so was Zielinski. Just a fantastic match, really exciting to watch. And then the next match, Zielinski versus Filler. Filler missed a couple of shots. Neither of them had really long runs in this match. But around the middle of the match, Zielinski took control and just ran the rest of it out. Okay, let's see. Let me go back here. Another thing that I picked up, let me look at the chat. Anybody have any questions? Let me see if I'm missing anything. How many's in here? 25 watching. Great win against Memphis, very proud. Should have won at least 4. I should have won 3. I should have won 3 and maybe, possibly 4. But I'm going to get there. Yeah, setting me up for success in the future. Yeah, Victor played well the whole tournament. If I go back here, Victor ran 150 balls against Ruiz, beats another favorite of the tournament, Joshua Filler, then beats his countryman, Misko Fortunsky, who was playing great, had a great tournament. Now he's in the finals. I picked Zielinski to win. I didn't think that Jungo was playing all that well. But for some reason, Zielinski struggled. And Jungo played great straight pool in that finals match to 175. Fantastic match, and I believe it's on YouTube. If it's not, you can get it from Upstate Al. He's still got the matches up. You can pay $25 to see every single match that was filmed during the whole tournament. But do not watch my match with Chin. Okay. Anyway, let's see. What else? Missed break shots. During the months that I was preparing for this tournament, I had off and on periods where I would just be missing a lot of break shots. And I noticed when I was missing them, I was overcutting them. Side of rack break shots. I was overcutting them. I couldn't see the ball, and it would feel like I'm making it. I'm on the ball. I'm going to make it, and I shoot and miss and overcut it. Watch this shot by Victor Zielinski. Very standard break shot.
Finals and semifinals.
He overcut it.
Tomorrow.
Now, I'm showing this. I'll let it replay. I'm showing this as one example.
Finals and
I bet I witnessed
women's division, which is
10
being played.
Good pros miss that break shot in the same way, overcutting
which
it.
is also being played.
So we need to learn a lesson here. And I'm going to do a live stream at some point where I'm on break shots here on my home table, and I'll experiment with it. And I talked to Tony Robles about this. I don't know if he agrees with me, but in my opinion, watch how hard he hits it.
Finals and semifinals.
See, he's going all the way up table with the cue ball. When you are stroking this side of rack break shot really hard, I believe that
which is also being played.
You end up hitting it thinner. And I don't know if it's a fundamentals thing or if it's a friction of the balls thing. But if you're not aiming for the center of the pocket and you hit it hard, you can overcut it. And like I said, I saw at least 10 good pros miss just like this, including Joshua Filler in his match against Zielinski. You thought he's going to run another 100 balls, and he missed just like this. So really, I think it's really important when you have this side of rack break shot. If you're going to hit it hard, you need to plan to cut it to the outside of the pocket, not the far point or center, to make it. And also you need to take more careful aim. This is him on this shot. He probably takes, 3 little warm-up strokes and then done. I think you got to focus more on your break shots, on your aim, especially when you're hitting them hard. So that was very interesting to me. By the way, I didn't miss a single break shot the whole tournament. That was one of my goals. And the week leading up to the tournament, I was working on that hard here in Denver. So I'm really proud of that stat. Massive elbow drop, that too. Let me look at it. Yep, big elbow drop. I notice some of the players don't drop their elbows hardly at all. But some of the Europeans, like Fedor Gorst, Zielinski, and some others, when they're shooting softer, they don't drop the elbow. But if they do a full stroke, their elbow drops. I don't think that's the best. And that's one of the things that I mentioned earlier. There are some pros that I've been really diving deep into fundamentals, into perfect fundamentals. Yeah, tip in the air. If someone drops the elbow, your tip's in the air. If you finish your shot with the tip on the table, your elbow's going to stay up. So those two things work together. A lot of the pros don't have the best fundamentals. I won't name any names, but they do things like improper alignment, rush delivery. They don't have a slow backstroke. They don't focus. They don't have a good shot entry. Combinations of different things. Dropping the elbow, lots of these things. And that really helps me to take them off their pedestal because none of them belong on a pedestal. Anyway, so that's one of the takeaways, the notable takeaways from there. Let's see. Filler also. Oh, I've got a miss by Filler as well. Let me see. Where is that one? Oh, this is a mistake by Filler. Okay. This is Joshua Filler during a run. 2 balls is going to be the break shot. He needs to shoot the stripe and get low on the 3. Look at that. He didn't get low on the 3. He's way too high. That's a mistake that you shouldn't make playing straight pool. Now he has to roll the 3 ball in. The cue ball is going to carry him off the 7, and you just hope it doesn't scratch. And you hope you get an angle on that 7 so that you can get up for the 2 ball break shot. Okay? So he does this pretty well. He didn't get as big of an angle as he wanted, but he's there. So you stun the cue ball forward to the rail with lots of side spin, and the cue ball spins up for your 2 ball break shot. Look what happens. No shot on the break shot. He has to play safe. Maybe this is cuttable, but when he walks behind it and looks, he's like, no, way too steep on that 2 ball. The cue ball should have been up by the side pocket. So my point is, I saw 50 mistakes by various pros of this type. Failure to get position, shooting the wrong shot, etc. Shooting a less than optimal pattern. And so this helps me to get them off their pedestal and convince me that I belong. But I'm not criticizing them. What I'm saying is this game of straight pool is difficult for everyone. So one of the hardest things is keeping your mental focus so that you don't make this kind of mistake because it ends runs. So that was one lesson that I took from this match, from this tournament. Pros are human and the balls are the same for everyone. I want to talk about the referee. Let me get rid of this off the screen for a second. I mentioned the referee, Carl. I don't want to criticize him too much because he had a tough job. He was really the only official referee for the entire tournament. And he was there all day, every day, and worked his butt off. During the player meeting, they announced the rules. And he said that the rules were, one of the rules, it is you cannot put your hand in a pocket to catch a cue ball that's about to scratch. If you put your hand in the pocket and catch a cue ball or any ball, it's a foul, you lose a point, and it's also a unsportsmanlike conduct, and you lose an additional 15 points. Okay, so it's a serious foul. And he mentioned other fouls. He talked about the whole foul system, but he said, he made a point of that. Don't put your hand in the pocket. Now, the very first day of the tournament, there's a match going on next to the feature table, and Carl's sitting there watching the feature table and the matches on either side. A guy shoots a break shot. The cue ball comes off the side rail and is heading for the side pocket, and it looks like it's going to scratch. That player put his hand in the pocket, and Carl saw him and jumped out of his chair and yelled, "Get your hand out of the pocket." And a lot of the people in the room were talking about it because several people in that room were down on their shots, and Carl startled them because he yelled loudly. So number one, even if you're a ref, you don't yell. Number two, he had no business calling that foul. If a player is about to commit a foul, neither the referee or the opponent should say anything. Let the player make the foul. Remember, in the U.S. Open, there was a big to-do about Shane Van Boening, where his opponent, or maybe it was a different tournament. Oh no, yeah, his opponent shot the 4 ball out of order, shot the purple ball, the purple 5, thinking it was the 4. It is not Shane's job or the referee's job to tell the player at the table they're shooting the wrong ball. And the same here. So we were confused by that. I don't know if anyone talked to the referee about it. They probably should. But again, man, he had a tough job, and he was doing a lot of work, a lot of long days. So we were trying to not be too critical of him. But that was a strange occurrence. Let me go look at the chat. Yeah, the ref made a big blunder there. And some of you may have seen that on the live stream or seen a recorded match and seen that. Shouldn't have done that. And he did that a couple of times. He did a similar thing. Another thing he would do is if a player shot usually a safety and maybe he pushed the cue ball up against the bottom of the rack, the stack of balls, Carl would run up to the table and hold his hand over the balls and check to see if they were frozen. Well, he doesn't need to do that because you don't know yet what the player is going to shoot. If it looks like the player is going to shoot into that ball, then the referee should go check and see if it's frozen. But so many times the player is just going to skim the cue ball off a different ball. It's completely irrelevant if that ball is frozen. So the referee was inserting himself into the game and interrupting the flow of the game when he shouldn't have. Now, there was an egregious error that the referee committed. And for those of you who didn't see it, I'm going to play it for you right now. Corey Deuel was playing Darren Appleton, and neither of them had a real big advantage. Let me hit pause on this. Let me back that up. Neither of them had a really big advantage. It was 102 to 982. Corey Deuel was ahead by 20 points. Darren wasn't playing well. Corey didn't have any long runs. A lot of back and forth. At this point, Corey just made 2 fantastic shots. The cue ball went flying around the table and different things, and he ended up in this position. Darren is probably at this time kind of resigned to the fact that he's about to lose because the 7 and the 8 are lined up into the corner pocket. So Corey has a combination that's going to open the pack. And so, everybody's thinking, yeah, this match might be over. Corey will probably run out from here. Okay, watch what happens. Corey's shooting the 7-8 combination. Watch the cue ball. Okay, number 1, the cue ball scratched. Now, that's an unforced error. It's an unfortunate error. Corey didn't do anything wrong. If you notice that, if you watch it again, I'll play it again. The cue ball backs up, goes forward, hits the 2 ball, and the cue ball literally curves around the 10 in order to scratch. Watch it again. It was really an unfortunate scratch. Corey didn't deserve it. Okay. Regardless, did you see what Corey did? He smacked his cue on the table in frustration. We all would have done the same thing. We've all done it a million times. But he kind of cracked his cue on his shaft on the table in frustration, and then you see him walking away from the table. Watch the referee. The referee right here calls unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So that's the first error by the referee, in my opinion. Would you have called that an unsportsmanlike foul? I don't know. If I was the referee, I don't think I would. I don't think that was unsportsmanlike of Corey. He's upset that he scratched. It was a fluke scratch. he thought he was going to run out the game, and so he was a little upset, and he tapped his cue, and the referee called a foul. Now, look at Darren Appleton. Darren Appleton was out of his chair in a hurry. Why is that? Because Darren Appleton is going to get ball in hand. He's got a shot on this stripe. The balls are open. Darren Appleton feels he's the favorite. He only needs 25 and 18. What's that? 43 balls. Darren Appleton feels like he's going to win this match, and he needs to win this match to advance out of the round robin. I think this is a round robin match. I could be wrong. Anyway, Darren is listening to the referee. Darren is not happy either. Why? Because the referee is going to rake the balls. So there are times after a foul where the balls are re-racked. In my opinion, this is not one of them. So Darren has protested, and so is Corey. Corey's like, what do you know, they're both protesting the call. The referee sticks to his guns and racks the balls. Watch Darren Appleton. Watch him. Watch what he does. He is pissed off, and I do not blame him. Darren Appleton should have gotten ball in hand if you're going to call a foul. Well, whether you call a foul or not, it doesn't matter. Corey scratched. Darren Appleton should have gotten ball in hand. Now, I went and looked at the rules, and I forgot to look at the rules. They had the straight pool rules posted at the tournament room, and I forgot to look at them. But let's see, where did I write it down? Okay. According to the WPA rules for straight pool, if the referee calls an unsportsmanlike conduct or a deliberate foul, the incoming player has the choice of taking ball in hand in the kitchen or having the balls re-racked and having the person who committed the foul shoot the opening break shot. Darren doesn't want that. Darren would have taken ball in hand because he feels like he's the favorite for sure. The BCA rules, the BCA rules do not specify an unsportsmanlike conduct. They specify a deliberate foul, such as putting your hand in the pocket. Regardless, a foul was committed, and according to BCA rules, again, the incoming player chooses whether they want to shoot with ball in hand or the balls are re-racked. So unless if they were using a different rule set that required a re-racking of the balls, I don't think that rule exists. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do not, the only case where I think it might exist is if both players took two intentional fouls and then one of the players chose to take a third intentional foul. But even in that case, the incoming player has the choice to either take ball in hand or have the balls re-racked. Darren Appleton was really mad, and I don't blame him. He's supposed to get ball in hand from here. Darren Appleton is supposed to get ball in hand, and he's the favorite to win the match. Doesn't mean he would. He might not run 43. Who knows? But he's supposed to get ball in hand, and he was upset. So there were some really weird things with the referee. Next year, I hope that they clarify that a little more. And honestly, I hope they have more people to help out. Peter Burrows does a fantastic job. He's in his 70s. Michael Frank is older as well. He's instrumental to this tournament. He does much of the commentary and also organization of the tournament. And then the referee is also getting a little bit older. He's been a referee of this straight pool tournament for many years. So I think they need some help. Some more referees would be nice. They need more money. First place was $10,000. Man, first place should be $50,000 for this tournament. It's so hard to win this tournament. We got to figure out how to get some more money into this tournament, promote it more, and get some help for the referees. Hopefully next year these rules are clarified and those bad calls don't happen. Yeah, I saw that, Chris. WPA, unsportsmanlike conduct. The referee will choose a penalty depending on the nature of the offense. So, perhaps that's the rule that they were going with, and the referee chose to re-rack the balls. However, re-racking the balls at that point is not a penalty for Corey. It penalizes Darren Appleton. So I think that's even under that rule, Chris, it's the wrong call. It's the wrong call. If you want to penalize Corey Deuel, what you do is you give Darren Appleton ball in hand and the head string. So, I think the referee was overloaded with work, and that contributed to him making a couple of bad calls. So anyway, that was strange, and there was a lot of talk during the tournament about that. But fantastic tournament, and Peter Burrows and staff need some help. They need money and they need some help. We got to keep this tournament going. So if anyone has ideas, let me know. I'll try and try and do it. The only other thing, the two other things. Funny anecdote. I was practicing like the fifth night of the tournament. I was practicing on the table. It was late at night. Most of the matches were done. I'm practicing by myself on a table, and Eklund Kachi comes up to me and he asks, "Can I try your cue?" Now it makes sense because Kachi is 6'4". I got to stand, right next to him, close to him, and I said, "Man, I think you're the same height as me." And he goes, "No, I'm a little shorter." So I think he's 6'4", 6'4 and a half, and I'm 6'5". And I asked him, and his cue is also 68 inches long. So he wanted to try my cue. So my cue is a butt made by Dave Bowman, house pro at Cue Masters, 8-inch custom extension, and then a Z. I was playing with the Predator Z shaft, a wood low deflection shaft. And Kachi plays, I believe, does he play with a Predator cue or Q-Tech? Gosh, I don't remember. But he plays with a manufactured cue with a carbon fiber shaft and a butt end extension, which he leaves on his cue permanently. So it's 68 inches all the time. So he wanted to try my cue. Cool. Yeah, you can try my cue, Eklund. Go ahead. He shot several shots, long shots, and missed them. And I don't remember if he undercut or overcut him. But I knew why he was missing him is because the deflection of his carbon fiber shaft was different than the Predator Z shaft. And what's hilarious is he shot maybe 4 or 5 shots, and he handed my cue back to me, and all he said was, "Well, if it works for you." And he walked away. And I should have kept it going. I should have tried to talk to him about. I should have asked him what he didn't like, or I should have asked him if I could have shoot a couple shots with his cue, but his cue was put together in his case at that time. I should have talked to him more, but I thought that was hilarious. I would have loved to carry on that conversation. Predator. Okay, Kachi shoots Predator. I would have loved to carry on that conversation and do a deflection test with my 68-inch cue and Kachi's 68-inch cue. That would have been cool, but I didn't. I'm kind of shy. I'm a shy guy. I'm an introvert. I can do this live stream because there's nobody there and I'm just talking to the microphone. But and I don't have to respond to people talking at me. The other regret, I'll name one regret. My biggest regret of this tournament was the last day of the tournament. It probably was the quarterfinals or something, probably quarterfinals. And I go up to the bleachers, and I'm out of the tournament, and I'm watching a match. I go up to the top row of the bleachers, and I sit down in the middle. And I'm watching the match for like 5 minutes. And I look over to my right, and on the end, sitting on the right, there's nobody between us. Thorsten Homan is sitting over there. And I said hello to him, and I said, "Wow, how were you hiding over there the whole time?" He goes, "Yeah, I was." "Oh, okay, cool." And then I didn't continue talking to Thorsten. Oh, why didn't I? Oh, I don't know why. That's my regret. And I could have had a conversation with Thorsten and asked him for a lesson or advice, and I wanted to. That was one of my goals of the tournament, was to get to sit down and talk to Thorsten, and there was my opportunity, and I didn't do it. So if you watch this, Thorsten, reach out to me, and maybe I'll reach out to him. I definitely want to. Anyway, so that was a regret. All right, last thing. What did I learn? Don't be nervous about running a few racks. When I'm playing practice games here in Denver, especially against opponents who aren't as good, sometimes I'll run 2 or 3 racks, and you're just like, let the other guy shoot. You can't do that. If you want to play good pool, you set a standard for yourself, and you practice all the time. You have to execute your process 100% of the time. It doesn't matter if it's for free, for gambling, in a tournament, for practice, against someone who's worse than you, same as you, better. All of that is totally irrelevant. And so that's one of the things that came through to me. When I was playing Carlo Biato and I missed that 7 ball, Carlo Biato jumped out of his seat and said, well, he was as surprised as me that I missed. Because I just ran 72 balls. And he didn't expect me to miss. He had established me in his mind. He's never seen me before. He had established me in his mind as a good player. Maybe certainly not as good as himself, but a good player. He didn't expect that miss. So one of the big lessons I took from this tournament is never be embarrassed or reluctant about running a lot of racks. If you've run 3 racks and you have a good break shot, those 3 racks that you just ran are ancient history. Now you're running this rack. Always stay in the moment and just keep, if the balls are working for you, just keep running balls. And don't rush, just keep doing your process. Yes, Noel, that's a good way to say it. Don't drop your standard. Not for anyone and not for yourself. Even if you're practicing by yourself, do not drop your standard. Extremely important. Okay. As I mentioned, a lot of the players, there weren't as many 100-ball runs as you might have thought. Players were winning matches by running 42, 50, 55, 60, playing safe, getting another shot. Matches were not going 3 and 4 innings. They were going 10, 12, 14 innings. And so what I'm taking from that is, if I don't put up a big run, it's irrelevant. No matter what run I put up, you need to end your inning on a safety. So I saw a lot of the pros miss, and the ones who were missing more often did not advance from the round robin. You don't have to put up big runs. What you have to do is play your game and end your innings on safeties. If you lose a safety battle, oh well. Don't miss. And I've mentioned this before. What's John Schmidt's #1 rule of playing straight pool? Don't miss. So the other side of the coin for don't miss is end every inning on a safety. That's a basic straight pool principle, and it takes a lot of work to get there, but that's another thing I took from it. Expectations mean nothing, and that goes along with knocking the players off their pedestal. So listen to this. In my bracket, in my round robin bracket, let's see, let me make sure my microphone's still working. Yes, it's still working. In my round robin bracket, Max Eberle beat Fedor Gorst. Fedor Gorst beat me, and I beat Max Eberle. So that tells you the hierarchy of who you think is a better player and who is, air quotes, supposed to win is completely irrelevant. You need to throw that out when you knock the players off their pedestals. It doesn't mean anything. Every time that you have a turn at the table, it's a new day. Every single time that you get on another break shot, it's a new day. The racks that you just ran are irrelevant, whether you've run 1 rack or 10. Every new break shot is a new day. Expectations about who's supposed to win, who's the better player, mean absolutely nothing. Okay. So that's one of the things I took away from this tournament. I can win matches. I should have beaten Mora, and I had a chance to be in there and possibly beat Biato. Next year, I'm going to be in the matches more than I was this year, and my goal next year is going to be make it out of the round robin. Let's see. get over the idea of running 3 racks or 4 racks as something special. It's not. The pros are in the tournament were consistently running 3 racks, and they often went to 4 and 5. So somewhere between 3, 4, 5 racks, something unfortunate would happen, uncontrollable, just the pool gods, and they'd have to play safe. That's straight pool. That's what happens. So don't feel like running 3 racks or 4 or 5 is something special. Your opponent sitting in the chair is worried that you're going to run 125 and out. They're not impressed if you run 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 racks. Not the least bit. So you shouldn't be either. Just play. Every shot is a new day. Let's see. Winning is a finicky combination of execution and luck. Ruiz played a perfect game. He ran 145 points, and he lost because Zielinski came back and run 145. You can't predict who's going to win these tournaments, and that means you can't predict when you might win a tournament. You have to just get out there and stick to your process. Okay, the last thing I want to do before signing off and talking about the future of this YouTube channel is I want to give a shout out to Danny Berruti. I mentioned him at the beginning of this thing. One of the second or third night of the tournament, Danny Berruti came up to me and asked me if I want to play. Danny and Michael Yednak are buddies. I think they were roommates for the tournament, and we had chatted earlier, and then I was practicing, or I was just sitting there, and Danny came up and asked me to play. So we played a game to 150. It was a fantastic game because we talked straight pool, and as I mentioned, Danny's in his 70s. He is a legend of straight pool. Look him up if you haven't heard of him. And he's been around for a long time, has learned from a lot of the old pros and old masters. And he played what I would characterize as old school straight pool. And we talked about it some. And it was fantastic. He didn't try to overpower the break shots, and he was happy with going into clusters. And he would look at the open balls and find a way to nudge balls with an insurance ball. And he might have to nudge those balls 2, 3, 4 times, and he would get there. And you'd look at it and go, geez, there isn't really a good end pattern. And he would study it and find a shot to nudge one ball into a real good break shot position. And from that point, he had an excellent 4-ball end pattern. So I wish that I had set up my tripod and recorded that game because it was fantastic. So I'm going to say thank you so much to Danny Berruti. Very happy to meet you, and I hope we meet again. Can talk some more straight pool and play some more straight pool. Let me look at this. Noel said, how do you keep your back from turning? My wrist turns out when make a shot. Yeah, your wrist turns out. It's a number of things. Your follow through could be too wrong. Noel, it's not an easy answer. When you have the best alignment, Little Chris is an example of really good alignment. That's not going to happen. And what I'm talking about, if you take a photograph from the front of a player looking dead straight down their pool cue, you're going to see the tip of the cue, the butt of the cue, the bridge, their vision center, shoulder, and elbow all in a perfect line. So set up a camera so that your cue is dead straight, pointed at the lens of the camera, and take a picture and see if that's all lined up. Now, there's a whole lot to talk about as far as getting your body in good everything about your stance and your vision center in good alignment. But when you do that, and when you train yourself to not drop your elbow, your wrist will not turn out. So I've just given you a little summary that often will involve hours of lessons in person to get all that right, Noel. So don't be frustrated and realize it's not a simple answer. It's going to take work. Okay. Future of shortstop on straight pool. As you guys know, I've been training reinventing my fundamentals for about 2 years now. I'm done. I'm done reinventing my fundamentals. That doesn't mean I won't be working on them. I will. but I know what I need to do, and what I need to do is keep refining what I now know is correct for me. That refining doesn't mean changing. It means making it even better than it is. And what I call imprinting. So my fundamentals are still susceptible to deteriorating. And so I need lots more repetition to get them imprinted where they're a habit that doesn't deteriorate during pressure, during competition, et cetera. So that's one goal. Number two, I'm continuing my goal. So I'm setting a goal now. I want to run 200 balls before the end of the year. So that's only 2 months, or just less than 2 months. I think I can do it. There's a couple of tables in town here in Denver that have 5-inch pockets. That's the table that I want to run it on, the 5-inch pocket tables. And we know about that. You need easier conditions if you want to put up a big number. So my first goal is to run 150. And I'd like to do that by the end of November. I've never run over 150. My high run is 135. And I want to run 200 by the end of the year. And so that's going to be happening. And I hope to try and do some live streams where, like Little Chris's Road to 100, I'll call it Road to 200. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Rack of the week. One of my last rack of the weeks, I talked about wondering if I'm repeating myself in the rack of the weeks and whether 100 racks of the week is enough. I think the first week of February, if I continue to then, would be 100 racks of the week. And I was asking, is that enough? And a lot of people commented online. And then I met people at the tournament in Virginia who watch my YouTube channel, and we talked, and they said, your rack of the week is awesome. Please don't stop. So I'll keep it up. I will continue the rack of the week. I'll continue doing 52 a year. And the reason why I can do that is because if I go on vacation or there's a holiday or something, or for any reason, I can do 2 or 3 or even 4 racks of the week videos ahead of time. And YouTube lets you schedule them. So I could do 4 of them, 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and schedule them, and then I don't have to do any more for a month or a couple of weeks, and I can go on vacation. So I can do it. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start changing it up a little bit. And that is maybe every other week will be a rack of the week, just like I have been doing. And then every other one, I will, instead of doing a complete rack of straight pool that me or a pro has shot, I will do 10 or 15 minutes studying a concept. So it won't be a formal instructional video, but it'll be talking about a straight pool concept. The rack of the week is always going to be straight pool. I'm not going to do 9-ball racks or 10-ball racks or 1-pocket racks. Rack of the week will always be straight pool. But I'll change it up a little bit. So if you have any suggestions on that, let me know in the chat or send me a message, bob@shortstoponpool.com, or message me on Facebook. I think you all know how to get a hold of me. And my contact info is in the description. And in addition to that, in order to grow my channel, I'm going to start talking about, hold on, if you're standing up, you better sit down. I'm going to start talking about 9-ball, 10-ball, and 1-pocket. I'm not a big fan of rotation games, but they're good games, and I believe I have a lot of knowledge to share. And 1-pocket is my second favorite game, and I believe I have a very advanced knowledge set of 1-pocket. And I'm going to start playing 1-pocket more. And maybe next year I will go to some 1-pocket tournaments. So you might get to see me play in a 1-pocket tournament. There's a whole lot of good 1-pocket tournaments, 1-pocket players out there that you don't see playing rotation games. So it's a tough market to go play 1-pocket. But I love the game, and so I'm going to be planning on doing some instructional videos about pool in general, and things that will apply to 9-ball, to rotation games, and 1-pocket, as well as straight pool, because straight pool is still my favorite game. 1-pocket is not very far behind. It's really close, guys. 1-pocket is a fantastic game. Anyway, any questions before I sign off? Sensei Nate plays pool. Easily my favorite game. For a lot of people, One Pocket is their favorite game. And I don't blame them, not one little bit. It is a fantastic game. So I would love to do some reviews of pro matches. That would be fun. And do some instruction as well. How many are watching now? 32 watching. No questions? I don't think I have anything else to say. I think that's a pretty complete report on the tournament. I wish I was more confident in myself and had a little bit better attitude. I didn't feel overwhelmed at any point during the tournament, but I think I could have done a little better. I'm going to predict I'm going to be pretty fierce going in next year. I'm not saying I'm going to win. Winning is a fluke. You can't predict whether you're going to win or not. We talked about that. But I would love to do better and hopefully advance out of my round robin bracket. Okay, paralleling One Pocket to straight pool safeties. Okay, I'll make a note of that. When are we going to have those straight pool principle videos? Oh, straight pool principles. Talk about that a little more, Sensei. What do you mean? I believe I wrote that down. I'm grabbing another list. I have. This is just one page. Let me go to this other. This is just one page. I've got like 3 or 4 pages of this, just brainstorming ideas for future videos. So since you've asked, I'm going to find that on this list. When are we going to have straight pool principles? I'm going to put it on the top. General. So you want a video that just talks about general straight pool principles. Okay. I'm going to give you some advice right now on this stream. Look at the top right corner of the page. Buy my book. Because it's in there. I have a unique, I was chatting with Max Eberly about it because he commented about it, how cool it was. Very unique approach in the book that I invented, which helps people to dissect straight pool. You'll see what I mean. People who own the book know what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to give that away, okay? But I will make a video. I'm making a note here, general straight pool principles. I can do that without giving away the stuff that's in the book. And I will do that for you. Rules of thumb, etc. Yeah, I'll write down. Rules of thumb. Definitely can do that. Okay. Somebody else had a question. How was it doing commentary? I liked it a lot. I'm used to doing it because I do all the racks of the weeks, but it's different because you don't want to be too critical of the player who's shooting, you want to be respectful of the other commentator. You're always in pairs, sometimes in threes. They need to talk as well. And then a lot of the viewers, they don't want the commentators to be jabbering all the time. They just want good information, but they don't want too much. So I thought I did pretty good. People on the streams were commenting and sent me some messages and said that I did a good job. I have recorded the matches that I commentated on, plus a whole bunch of other matches. So I'll be reviewing my commentary to see if I think it, after the fact, to see if I think it was pretty good. But I think it was pretty good. I did a match with Michael Yednak. He's awesome, by the way, in commentating. And then I did a couple matches with Bobby Chamberlain, and he enjoyed it. He said I did a good job. And then I was in there were 3 of us, Bobby Chamberlain and who was it? Is it Dawn? Oh, man. Hopkins. Just a legend, female player and excellent straight pool player. And I thought we had a good match too. So I enjoyed it. I'd like to do more. I mentioned to someone that I'd like to get into commentary. Some of the guys who do commentary on these really big events like the 9-ball matchroom events, etc., they do get some compensation for that. And I'd like to get that good. I wouldn't claim to be ready to do that commentary, and I haven't done any 9-ball. The only commentary I've ever done is these 3 straight pool matches. So I'd like to do more. What do you think about playing the tourney to ease the pressure? Yeah, it's not just this tourney, it's any tourney, even your local weekly tournament or your league match. Pressure isn't real. It's invented. It's in your head. The way to deal with it is you need to train to have a process, your process. When it's your turn to shoot, I'll give you a little bit of advice, something that most amateurs don't do. So your league match or your local tournament, you're sitting in your chair and your opponent's playing. And they miss or they break and don't make a ball or whatever the case is, it's your turn to shoot. Stay in your chair until your opponent has released the table. So you'll see most amateurs, when it's their turn, they'll just jump out of the chair and run up to the table. And then they're like, yeah, get out of my way. They want their opponent to clear out of there so they can start their turn. Don't do that. So that's one way to ease the pressure. Act like a professional. Stay in your chair. Let your opponent, commiserate, just fret over the shot that they missed or the fact that they didn't make a ball on the break or whatever it is. Let them leave the table in their time. Wait until they have left the table and sat down. Then stand up. And that's the initiation of your process. If you do that, you're going to find there's less pressure. And then the other part is always pool needs to be about your process. So you'll look at what you want to do and you might feel a little nervous about it, but you're like, oh, I got to shoot this one ball and draw the cue ball 6 feet off the rail to get on the 2. Well, you've made that decision. Now stand behind the cue ball and begin your process. So it becomes no different than when you're shooting the same shot when you're practicing by yourself. So all that's real easy to say, but that's how you ease the pressure. Do not approach the table until your opponent has released it, and do not begin your shot until you've made a firm decision, and then just execute the process that you practiced in your practice table. Okay. Let's see. How about something comparing traditional straight pool to the new straight pool? That's a good point. Bobby Chamberlain and I actually talked about that, and I don't think it was on air. I think it was off air. The new straight pool is actually Thorsten Holman started it, and it's not fair because he employs a lot of traditional straight pool. But the new players want to smash the rack wide open on the first shot of every rack. And they're all such good shot makers and position players. They want to smash it open because they know if the 15 balls are spread and no 2 balls are touching, they are going to clear that table. So that's the new straight pool. And it's not the best straight pool. I don't think it's the best way to play. And I am as guilty of wanting to play that way as anyone. But my game with Danny Berruti really opened my eyes. Traditional straight pool, I think a combination of traditional and new is the way to go. The balls used to be lighter, and the cloth was slower, and the pockets were bigger. So it's a different game. I'll make a note of that. Don't look for it in a hurry, but I'm making a note right now. Traditional versus new straight pool. It's a little bit disconcerting to me because there were a few of the players that were running big runs who didn't know how to play. And by the end of the tournament, they got knocked out. They didn't make it too far if they made it through the round robin. So it's not the best way to play. The best way to play is controlling the cue ball on those break shots and knowing which balls on the other side of the rack are going to come out and where they're going to go. That's how you play good straight pool. And I have more to learn on that topic. I learned some at this tournament. Tony Robles showed me a couple shots that really opened my eyes. So that's my thoughts on that. Good commentator, a lot of games. Yeah, I played more 9-ball than anything else. I understand 9-ball very well. Safety play and running out. I think I'd be good at it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do some commentating over at, there's a pool hall here in town that does lots of live streams. They have one of those Friday night fights things. So I need to get over there more often, get involved. They'll put me on the microphone over there. I'll get some more experience there, and who knows where it'll go. Focus on high runs. Yeah. The secret to playing good straight pool is, like I said, every rack's a new day. When you have an opportunity to run, you need to do it. When you don't have an opportunity to run a lot, you don't get aggressive and try and smash the rack open. Try and do it in a predictable way with insurance balls. And if it doesn't work out, play safe. Control. You want to end your innings on a safety. I saw so many innings last week by those pros that ended on missed shots that didn't have to. Now, everybody misses. Everybody misses. There's not one single player in that tournament who didn't miss some shots. What I'm talking about is missing when you didn't have to. There were better choices. That's what I'm talking about. Reach out to Tony about doing some content. Good idea. I'll do that too. Let's see. High runs. Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Because I got a little dry mouth. Want to get a drink, and there's a burger waiting for me, waiting to be cooked for dinner. Guys, I'm going to sign off. I think that was long enough. How long did we go? Long time, right? I can't tell how long. Let's see. What does it say here? 2 hours and 19 minutes? 3 hours? How is it possible we went 3 hours? It's not possible. Okay, that's long enough. I'm signing off, guys. I thank you very much for watching. I'm planning on growing this channel. I'm going to branch out to more games with straight pool remaining the primary focus, especially with the rack of the week. I have some good instructional videos lined up, and now that I'm not going to be doing a lot of training in the immediate future for a straight pool tournament, I'm going to have more time to organize my life around my other job and get some of these videos done. So that's what I'll be doing. You're welcome, Mark. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Noel, Hector, Trevor, everybody, Brian, Sensei, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. And there will be more coming up soon, so stay tuned. Signing off. Good night.